Okay, let's talk about Secret Invasion episode 3 and 4. So, I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of mad confused on what's happening in the show, and I also couldn't be more uninterested in what's going on. So, a quick rundown of episode 3. Gravik wants to create Super-Skrulls, and he has the extremist ability for himself. He sent people to launch missiles at AUN aircraft, and Fury and Talos team up to stop it. That was basically episode 3, and there are a few things that weren't really addressed. For example, Gravik sent three of his men to infiltrate and to blend in once they entered like the US submarine or something like that, right? But only one of them was in charge of launching the missile. So why didn't the other two take like higher positions in the chain of command so that the launch missile couldn't have been like aborted by just ordinary humans? So that wasn't really explained or addressed, and that was like a plot hole or a missed opportunity. What else? Yeah. So Talos and Fury finds the person who has the codes to stop the launch, and Talos gets so angry after the guy, taunts him about his daughter and all that, and he shoots the guy that has the codes, which is just very crazy because that guy had the code to stop in a missile that could possibly start a World War III. And it turns out that, so yeah, which is just kind of crazy. And then, you know, Talos conveniently calls Gaia to get the codes from this base where they are keeping everyone that they have taken their likeness from. And she gets the codes and then she tells Talos, and then they shut it down in time. But it turns out that all this was just so that Gravik could expose the mole within their organization. Because as Gaia tries to leave the area, Gravik finds her and then he shoots her and kills her. So yeah, we just assume that she's dead. So that's basically the end of episode 3, and that was just one nothing episode in my opinion. We start to speculate that Rhodes is almost definitely a Skrull, okay, but everything else is still at square one. And I think that if you took away that episode, it wouldn't really change the series and how it was going, except for some character development here and there. So in episode 4, Gaia is actually not dead, and she used the scroll machine and gave herself the extremist power as well, so she can regenerate now. And Priscilla meets with Rhodes, who was a Skrull, and he asks her to kill Fury for whatever reason. And while Fury is listening in on them because he bugged Priscilla, and I mean, it would have been nice to see him bug her in the previous episode, but we're just left to assume that he did, even though we didn't really see it. So it's just one of those moments. And then we get like a backstory between the two, sort of Fury and Priscilla. And it turns out that Vara is the name of a Skrull that is currently taking Priscilla's likeness. And the way they met was that the real Priscilla had like a heart defect and was about to die in the hospital. And then Vara revealed herself and said that I can live your life for you and I can help you fall in love if I take your image. And then they agreed to it on three conditions. One is that Vara will bury Priscilla by the ocean. Two, she will continue to be a daughter to Priscilla's real parents. And three, she will never harm her lover. And then that's how they met, basically. And I mean, I don't really like this weird backstory in my opinion. It's a little bit weird in my opinion. I do wish that like Fury simply just fell in love with the Skrull and not the whole baggage to it that oh she took someone else's life and all that. And I just don't see that happening ever really. So yeah, and then they make amends, and then now he trusts her again, and they just go separately, and then he goes off somewhere, and then he goes to interrogate Rhodes, kind of. So he shows up at Rhodes' house, and he gives him this liquid tracking device through a bottle of like tequila or alcohol, and him and Talos team up and follow the tracking device, and it turns out that they're in a convoy with the president, and Gravik and his team pulls up, right? I think they're repping the Russians. I forget. I don't really know. And excuse me. And they just start blasting, right? They just start shooting at everyone, and the car flips over where the president is in, and then Fury is out to rescue the president, and so is Talos. And eventually, Talos breaks out the window that the president is trapped within the car of, and Gravik takes the disguise of one of these like U.S. agents, and he just kills off Talos right then and there. which is kind of crazy. I don't really think Talos is dead that easily. But yeah, and then Fury shoots him in the face, but then Gravik reveals that he has the extremist ability and he heals from it, right? But there were some things that I didn't really like or didn't really get. I'm pretty sure. I mean, yeah, Fury was just fired in the previous episode, right? And what else? Yeah, I don't know if Talos even has like an actual job on Earth or within the government, right? So for them to just show up and start using guns, I don't think that the Service or whoever it is that is guarding the president would just allow that to slide, even though they are facing Gravik and the team, right? Because basically, Fury no longer has clearance, right? And he's just straight up there using their guns and weapons. And Talos, I don't think works within the government at all. So it's whatever though. And yeah, also Gravik has Groot's ability now. He can extend his limbs like a wooden tree, and then he can grab people, and then he straight up grabs one of these like agents shooting at him, and then he grabs him, and then he squeezes him with his ability, which is just crazy and sick. But yeah, that's basically it. You know, it ends with Talos getting killed by Gravik, and then they run away, and yeah, that's basically it. And yeah, that's where the episode ends. And I mean, this episode as well, for the like first two acts, it was very uninteresting to me. Only the third act saved this episode, in my opinion. It was just kind of like mid. It was all right, but yeah, that's about it. It was an all right episode, but yeah, I don't really know how they can end this in two episodes, but we'll see. That's about it. Peace.